What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and you like Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And other card games, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But without further ado, this is going to be my Gallantmon X Antibody deck profile. So, starting us right off here, we've got 4 copies of Digimon. Now, this guy just gives you, when attacking, if this Digimon has Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in its name, draw 1. This is, of course, from the EX2 set. So, I never really get through my 4 eggs. I really don't think it's necessary to play a 5th one personally, but if you want to go ahead, you know, there's some other decent options for a 5th egg. But I really just like the consistency of always guaranteed having this because everything in the deck is named Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon. So anyway, moving right along to our rookies, we've got 4 copies of our Guilmon. This is from the starter deck here, the Gallantmon starter deck. So on your turn, if your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon in play, you can Digivolve this into a Gallantmon in your hand for 4 cost, ignoring its Digivolution requirements. So you can get some sneaky, you know, Warp Digivolve plays in there. But mainly we are playing him for this inherited effect that when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, draw 1. We're doing a lot of deletion on attacking, deletion on digivolving, etc. So you get some extra draw power from that as well. And then, of course, next we are playing 4 copies of this Guilmon from EX2. This is our Searcher Guilmon. This gives us, on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck and add 1 with Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name and 1 Takato from among them to your hand. Place remaining at the bottom of your deck. So this gives us a lot of search power. Potentially can get 2 cards off of him, which is great. And yeah, if this Digimon has Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less when attacking. So actually having that extra when attacking deletion effect does come up sometimes. A lot of these higher levels already have something similar, but you can delete 2 like rookies that way and check his security. So there's a bit of control aspect there that's pretty cool. But moving on, next we have 4 copies of our Guilmon X Antibody, of course. So if you don't already know, this guy can Digivolve for 0 on top of a Guilmon, and he also has this effect that you can add 1000 to the maximum DP you can choose with DP-based deletion effects. Oh, and I almost forgot, he has when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 or less. So it's pretty easy to just, you know, Digivolve one of these on one of your eggs, and then just throw him on top for 0, draw another card. Really gets the deck going, drawing cards quickly that way, and setting up our like later game plays. So that's all the rookies. We got 12 rookies. That does pretty well. These guys are almost like pseudo champions because they can Digivolve on top of the Guilmon, or if you need them to, they can Digivolve on top of your eggs too, whatever you really need at the moment. So that's it for the rookies. Moving on to the champions. First up, we've got the most important one here, 4 copies of the Growlmon from the starter deck. Now, one of the main reasons I like him actually is just that 4 play cost. So he's a pretty cheap champion, you know, level 4 Digimon to just drop on the field for only a 4 cost. And then he has this awesome inherited effect that when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. That comes in handy a lot if you, you know, delete something. It really helps extend your plays by just gaining a ton of memory. You know, it is only once per turn, but if you happen to have 2 of them under 2 ultimates or megas or whatever, then you can potentially gain 2 or more memory a turn. So it is just nice to have 4 of him. I like him the best, but we also have 2 copies of this Growlmon from EX2 as well. So this Growlmon has, when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2000 or less. If you have a Tamer in play, delete one with 4000 or less. So, you know, when attacking, deletion effects are cool. There's a lot of them in this deck. And then he also basically gives the same thing as an inherited effect, but for 3000 DP or less. So much the same as one of the Guilmons we took a look at earlier. And then we are playing 4 copies of the Growlmon X Antibody. So, of course, same effect. This guy can Digivolve for 0 on top of a Growlmon. Kind of makes him like a pseudo-ultimate. He can just plop on one of those. The 0 cost is great because, you know, sometimes you Digivolve the Growlmon, you draw this guy, you just drop him, draw another one, you just dig through your deck super quickly. And then he also has the same inherited effect as the Gallantmon X Antibody, where you can add 1,000 to the maximum you can choose for the DP-based deletion effects. I also really like this guy having 6,000 DP. He's a really strong level 4, and you can get him up to 8,000 pretty easily, but we'll talk about that later. I have one other champion I'm playing, and we're just playing one copy of a Gallantmon. Of course, this is the one that can Digivolve on top of any of your red Tamers, as if it was a level 3 Digimon. So you just throw him on top of one of our red Tamers to go for that last game swing after you've, you know, broken down all their security. So he comes in handy just to finish off games. Though I have been thinking about cutting him to 1 to put him at 2 because, you know, a lot of times playing the Gallantmon to search stuff, we actually end up just putting this guy at the bottom of our deck. And that kind of sucks because you like to see him. So there's a little playroom there. But anyway, moving on next. For our ultimates, we are playing 4 copies of the War Growlmon from the starter set. You could also play a couple copies of the EX2 one. I don't have any currently in this deck, but it's a pretty good option as well. But I really like this one. So he also has the same kind of when attacking, delete something with 3,000 or less effect. So you can easily get a stack that can delete 3 things with a 3,000 or less when attacking. But the main reason I like this one is the inherited effect that when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for this turn. That comes in handy when Digivolving into our Gallantmon to get that extra security check and just bust through a ton of security in 1 turn. I'm also playing 3 copies of the War Growlmon X Antibody. So this guy, again, of course, can Digivolve for 0 on top of a War Growlmon. But then he also has this awesome when Digivolving effect that says, until the end of your opponent's turn, 2 of their Digimon gain on deletion lose 1 memory. And then if this card has War Growlmon or X Antibody, the option card, in its Digivolution sources, then choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP is up to 6,000 or less and delete them. So that's honestly this guy's like one of the best cards just because you play him for 0 on top of the War Growlmon. You know, select 2 of their Digimon, they gain that on deletion lose a memory thing. So then you can just pop one of them, at least usually, with the 6,000 or less. And if you have a couple of the, you know, Growlmon and Gallantmon X antibodies in there, then you can choose something up to 8,000. So you can easily pop 2 rookies, sometimes 2 champions, or at least 1 ultimate level Digimon. And then you also gain some memory back, which is great, because then once something's deleted, you get that security attack +1 from this one. And then you can go into your Gallantmon and finish the game off. So let's move along and look at the megas. Starting off, we have 3 copies of the Gallantmon from the starter set. So the reason I like this guy so much personally is he starts off with a security attack +1, which is great. And then he also has, when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less. So again, if you have some of those, you know, Gallantmon and Growlmon X antibodies, you can choose up to 6,000 or less. But you really don't want to delete anything, because if no Digimon was deleted with this effect, he gets plus 3,000 DP for the turn, putting up to 14,000, which is insane. You really want to get that extra DP for those extra security checks, because he's already going to be checking +1 from himself. And if you just Digivolved him on top of the War Growlmon X antibody who just deleted something, and you have War Growlmon under that, then you get another security check +1. So he's already checking 3 himself. Just off of that, you can bust through a ton of security. And I'll also just mention quickly, we're playing another option card that gives us an additional security attack +1. So really my strategy here is to get him up to security attack 4, check 4 times, and almost one-shot them. But moving on, we also have 2 copies of the Gallantmon X Antibody. Got the alt art here. We'll take a look at him. So he can Digivolve for 1 on top of a Gallantmon. Not 0 this time, but 1 doesn't really break the bank either. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. And if no Digimon is deleted from this effect, unsuspend this Digimon. So what's really cool is you bust through 4 things with him. If they don't have anything to delete with his effect, you can just Digivolve him for 1, unsuspend, and then attack for game. That's, super, super effective. And then you also have your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted. If Gallantmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you can trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So this is also super good. Even if you're not swinging for game that turn, if you just Digivolve him on top of Gallantmon and use his, Digivolution effect to delete something with the lowest DP, even if they only have 1 Digimon out, no matter how strong it is, it's going to be their Digimon with the lowest DP because it's the only one. So you can sometimes destroy like something super powerful with that and also trash the top card, which is just crazy. But that is not all, because we're also playing 1 copy of Gallantmon Crimson Mode. And honestly, I would be playing 2 of this if I had it. I currently only own the 1. But this guy is nuts for a level 7. He has, when Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. So a lot of times that's just 1 thing, but sometimes you get lucky and you can pop 2 things with that. Either way, you're deleting something that's the highest DP, so it's going to be useful. But the main reason this guy is nuts is because he has this when attacking effect that you can trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, and you can add 1 to the number of cards trashed by this effect for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash. So usually it's pretty late game by the time you see this guy and are able to Digivolve him on one of these guys. And if you do, they're probably going to have at least 10 cards in their trash by then. So you can pretty easily Digivolve him on one of these guys, attack, trash 2 cards because he's going to trash 1 and then another 1 for every 10 in their trash. So assuming they only had 2 or less security left, his attack would actually just go through for game at that point. So this guy can come out of nowhere and steal games. It's pretty crazy. Super late game. You're both like down to nothing. This guy, you just drop him and just swing for game. And they're like, oh, what? I still had like 2 or 3 security. Oh, well, too bad. But then in place of a second one of him, I am also playing 1 Omnimon, the Blitz Omnimon here. So he has 1 Digivolving Blitz. This Digimon can attack when your opponent's has 1 or more memory. And when Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. So, you can swing for 3 or 4 with Gallantmon. And then maybe you Digivolve him for 1 with the Gallantmon X Antibody. If you don't delete anything, he unsuspends, attacks again. Then you can Digivolve him and Blitz, unsuspend, and get that Blitz attack in for the game. So that can definitely happen. That's a super solid combo as well. He also has all turns. If an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon in this Digimon's Digivolution card. So he has some built-in, safety there in case you do swing into security. If you have to, you're not swinging for game, you have to swing to security sometimes. It can give him some, protection from some of those nasty security cards, just drop in one of those level 6s. And you can easily have 2 level 6s in his sources too, so it can actually make him pretty hard to get through. But that's it. That's the main strategy there. Just drop this guy, break most of their security right then and there. You can drop him to unsuspend an attack for game, or you can go into him to blitz for game. And another combo is you can, attack with him to break like 3 or 4 security. You can Digivolve this guy. If he doesn't delete anything, he can unsuspend, and then you can Digivolve into the Crimson mode to attack, trash a couple cards, and have the attack go through for game. So any of those combos are pretty much your end game play. But moving on, let's get to our Tamers and option cards. So up first, we have 3 Takatos. You could definitely play this guy at 4 if you want. He's really, main heart and soul of the deck. obviously, as he should be. So of course he has, on your turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory, which is great. You know, we have all those when attacking delete effects. You can gain a lot of memory back that way, especially with the Growlmon that gains memory and the War Growlmon X Antibody that makes them lose memory, meaning you gain memory. If all those go off at once, you can gain basically 2 from the War Growlmon, 1 from the Growlmon, and, you know, 1 for each Takato you have out. So you can gain like 3 or 4 or 5 memory back all at once. It's pretty nuts. And then you can go into your Megas and, you know, just swing for game. But then he also, one of the main reasons we play him is your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Gallantmon or Growlmon in its name, that Digimon gains when digivolving Blitz. So he gives our entire deck Blitz. So that's really awesome to go into, you know, our Ultimates and Megas and still be able to get that attack in. Even if we're getting like memory choked, we only have like 1 or 2 memory, we can still get our good cards out and still make our attacks. So he's really crucial for the deck. I would not play any less than 3 personally. Next up, we have 2 Cool Boys. And honestly, I would easily want to throw in 1 or 2 more of this guy because he is very useful. Of course, if you haven't seen him already, he does give on play, and his play cost is only 2, which is pretty nuts. But on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add a Digimon with X Antibody in its traits, and 1 option card with X Antibody in its traits among them to your hand, place the rest at the bottom of your deck. So he can potentially get you an X Antibody option and Digimon card, which is pretty nuts. Doesn't usually come up, but if I play him and get at least 1 of those, I'm happy. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with X Antibody in its traits, you may suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory and draw 1. So it's, you know, this guy basically pays for himself right away. Play him for 2, digivolve something for 0, boom, you get 1 back, you draw 1. You know, you get some stuff for playing him. He's super useful. And like I said, I would potentially think about running 3 or 4 of him. But then we also have 2 Hero. And of course, this guy is our memory setter. If we have 2 or less memory at the beginning of our turn, we set our memory to 3. That can be crucial most games, just so we don't get choked out at 1. But then his other effect is great too. Your turn, when you attack with a Digimon that has Gammamon in its name, or is level 5 or higher, you may suspend this Tamer to have one of your Digimon get plus 2000 DP for the turn. So that's really great. If you attack with War Growlmon or War Growlmon X Antibody, you get plus 2000, or, you know, the Megas also, if you really want to be sure. So it helps, you know, not die when attacking security, or when attacking into another Digimon, you get that extra 2000 just to beat over something. So he's really useful. If you have a Tai Kamiya from like BT9, he's really good too, because he gives your Digimon like security attack plus 1. I do want to try to get a couple of him. I don't have him myself, but I want to try to get a couple and test that out, because we could easily get our Gallantmon up to security attack 5, so just wipe out their whole stack at once. But that is it for the Tamers. And moving on to our options. So I will say I'm still messing around with the options a little bit. Not 100% sure I love this yet, but we do have 2 X Antibodies. So of course this is the one you're going to search with Cool Boy that could come up. I do love the security effect of this. It does come up and save you sometimes, which is just gain 1 memory and add this card to its owner's hand. Super useful. It's almost like hitting a Hammer Spark in security. Not quite as crazy, but sometimes when your opponent's sitting at 0 trying to get a couple attacks in before they play their last card and they hit this, it just ends their turn and stops them from being able to play that last card, which is really nice. And then while you have a Digimon in play, you can use this without meeting its color requirements, which is nice. You can put it on any Digimon, basically. And you just place this card under one of your Digimon without an X Antibody and its Digivolution cards as its bottom Digivolution card. And then all turns, effects can't trash X Antibody in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. And when attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody and its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So this is good. You can put it under any of your Digimon, and you can attack with them and Digivolve into the same level Digimon with X Antibody, or you can skip a whole level and digivolve into, like, say you have one of your War Growlmons or even War Growlmon X with this under it. You attack, and then you just drop Gallantmon X Antibody on top of him. So you get that Digivolution effect to pop something, trash a card, and then attack through. So that can be a pretty strong combo as well. And, you know, it doesn't really matter with the Digivolution cost thing. Yeah, it might go over to your opponent's side, but we're already attacking. Plus Staccato gives everything blitz anyway. So you can get some really sneaky plays in, because you could also blitz into a Gallantmon, play Gallantmon, blitz with it, and then if you have this, you could instantly turn him into Gallantmon X Antibody as well. So with the blitz attack from Staccato comboing with the X Antibody, there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do. And then I'm currently also running 2 Gaia Force. It's pretty high cost, but you get to delete any Digimon. You know, no other stipulation there. Just delete a Digimon. Doesn't matter how strong it is or anything. And then its security effect is to just activate its main effect to delete something. And I'm also playing 2 Lightning Joust. So this is what I was talking about earlier. For only a 1 cost, if our security stack is equal or less than our opponent's, we get plus 2,000 on one of our Digimon, and that Digimon gets security attack plus 1. So that's what I was talking about earlier. We can add an extra security attack onto our Gallantmon. Now, I was playing Red Memory Boost this whole time. I've been trying this out, and I kind of like it. Sometimes I miss the Red Memory Boost, though, so I'm thinking maybe dropping a Gaia Force for a Red Memory Boost or something. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should I keep the Red Memory Boost and drop one of these? I mean, I could even maybe drop one of each for 2 Red Memory Boosts. I don't know. But I do really like having the Lightning Joust for the extra security attack, and the extra 2,000 is very nice. And having the Gaia Force can come in clutch sometimes. Because sometimes you just got to get rid of a Death Xmon, right? Sometimes you really have no other choice but to use a Gaia Force to get rid of just something huge. And I do like this because there's so many decks nowadays that just, you know, bring up one strong Digimon, just attack, you know, hit through all your security, and this gives you something to just kind of stop them in their tracks. Hopefully, some of those Digimon have some protection from stuff like that, but it can help. And like I said, also to get rid of a Death Xmon. There are other good options for some deletion effects if you want to use, like, I think Crimson Blaze can destroy like everything with 6,000 or less, and you can add a few thousand to that as well with some of your other effects. I also thought about running Fireball, which lets you destroy something 4,000 or less, and if you don't destroy anything, you get to draw 2. I found that wasn't really necessary because this deck draws a lot, usually just by digivolving over and over. So I've kind of settled on this for now. That's why, again, I don't really love the Red Memory Boost, though they definitely come in handy, but I feel like usually you can dig through your deck pretty quick and get what you need. So I like these myself personally, but like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think of that. What do you guys think of the deck as a whole? Is there anything you would like to change or do differently? I'd love to hear about it and talk with you guys about it. But that is it for my personal Gallantmon X Antibody deck. Like I said, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button. It does help me out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.